This is one of the easiest things. You're going to kiss me when I tell you this. Hi, welcome to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina, and today I want to share with you some of my favorite designer tricks to create a high-end look in your home, even when you are using IKEA products. Now, these are tips and tricks that you could use with basically any store, but I, just like you guys, seem to have a thing with IKEA. I can't help but love to go there, and IKEA isn't necessarily known for having a designer look or being super high-end or having that pulled together kind of chic style. But that does not mean that you cannot have all those things while using IKEA products. So I hope that today's video will be super helpful. I hope that you will hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up, and let me know if you would like to have part 2, because I got a little carried away and I had to eventually stop because apparently I really do love IKEA. I blame living in Scandinavia for 6 years. I just cannot help myself. So let me jump straight in because I have so much to share with you today. One of my favorite sections at IKEA is the curtain section. It's one of the sections that most people don't realize is amazing, and you can find some really beautiful, high quality curtains. I say that while sitting in a room without curtains. I know that not every room is going to need curtains, but for those that do, IKEA has an amazing selection. Some of my favorites that I have used over and over are the velvet Sanela curtains. Those are gorgeous. And they have the Marita, which are cotton, and those are just a little bit more lightweight. Those two I feel very confident. I've used them over and over and over. Now I have a couple tricks that you need to do with these curtains. Don't just grab a set and stick them up. There's a couple little things that I think will help you. First of all, double your curtains. So whatever window that you're putting them on, if you want to have a really beautiful designer look, you want to double the curtains so that you have a lot more volume. Volume definitely reads more designer. It just has that sort of finished, beautiful look that we try to put into our homes when we're designing and we have a little bit more budget to work with. My next tip is to use curtain clips. I actually buy curtain clips from Amazon. So I realize that those are not from IKEA, but you can elevate the look of your IKEA curtains with this simple hack. I think that they're maybe $10 for a pack of the little rings, and you'll have that sort of finished, polished look now on the top of your curtains, even though they're really inexpensive. So it's a great hack, and it will really give you a beautiful high-end finish in your spaces while using IKEA curtains. Another thing that is so easy and so overlooked from IKEA are the rugs. They really have some beautiful, beautiful rugs. So one of the biggest problems with IKEA rugs is that a lot of times they are not big enough for the space that you need to put them in. So you can do a couple things with your rugs. You can actually double the rugs and put 2 of them side by side and actually create a much bigger rug. And I know that will mean that you would have a seam, but for most of those rugs, you wouldn't even know the difference. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can actually double them on top of each other. So that's another designer trick that we use a lot of times. A lot of times we'll have one large rug that we put underneath a very large section, and then we'll have a smaller rug that we put on top of that kind of anchors the center point. And you could do this in a dining room, a living room. You could, honestly, you could use it in just about any space. It really is a fun tip, and it just gives you extra layers in your space, which I think just gives off that high-end designer vibe. My next tip is to double your coffee table. Notice a lot of this is doubling. We're gonna double a lot of what they have because a lot of times it's just too small, or the scale is just not appropriate for your space. There's very few homes, unless you're living in New York or you are in a truly tiny house, most people need bigger scale, and most rooms need more scale than what IKEA is providing you. So you can double, triple, quadruple your coffee table. So if you take one of their cube tables, one of those as a coffee table is gonna be too small from the majority of the spaces. It's just too tiny. And the price reflects what it is. You really just need more. So if you double it, now you have a much bigger table. But if you quadruple it, you've really given yourself a lot more space to work with, and it will help your space to feel more filled in. A lot of times when your furniture is too small for your space, it just feels like it's floating and there's nothing really holding it together, and the space is just, it almost feels like you didn't have enough money to fill it, and you definitely don't want that feeling, especially when you've already spent money on your room. So this should definitely help you to create just a more voluminous look in your space, even if it's just with your coffee table. Next up is to not one-stop shop. IKEA even does not expect you to only buy IKEA. And if you're trying to create a designer look in your home and you only buy from IKEA for your entire home, it's just gonna have this sort of feeling like it doesn't have a lot of personality, because they are mass producing items that they think the masses will want. And they're expecting you to put your personal stamp on it. You wanna have things that really reflect your story and your life. And so you can take those things and put them on one of those IKEA coffee tables. And all of a sudden, it just looks more high-end, it looks more designer, because now it's got some soul to it. And that's what that for me as a designer is probably the most important thing that I ever want to include in a space. I figure that we can overlook curtains and we can do a lot of things to overcome quite a bit in a space, but if the room at the end has no soul, then to me, I feel like I've always failed. So definitely make sure that you personalize your IKEA products, and the way that you decorate them and pull them together should really reflect your style and your personality. Ooh, this is a good one. A lot of times when you have an IKEA product and it's maybe the scale is a little bit small for your space, it doesn't have a built-in feel. I know that if you're really handy, of course, you could take one of the bookcases, you can add molding, you can hack it. There's a bazillion hacks out there for things that you can do to your IKEA pieces. But my trick that I like to use is to actually put an IKEA piece on the same color wall. I mean, it's great if you can hack it and make it look built in, but you may not be able to. Maybe the measurements aren't quite right. Maybe you just won't have an exact fit on your space. Well, what I like to do is to put the IKEA piece on the same color wall as the piece itself. So if it's a white shelf, I put it on a white wall. If it's a black shelf, black wall. I've been looking even at their IKEA closet systems, and my intention is to put the black closets on black walls, because it will help it to feel like it's all built in, and your eye, it doesn't really see the difference there. It just sees something that's more built in, and it will instantaneously elevate whatever piece you are using. This tip definitely works the best if you are using a large scale piece of furniture like a bookshelf, their closets. Yeah, those are the two main things I think that I would use that for. If you're trying to create something large scale, this tip especially will be super, super helpful. I wrote down switch out your knobs, but I kind of feel like everybody said that. Hasn't everybody said to switch out your knobs? I actually think it's more helpful to think about adding lighting to your space. I think you're gonna get way more bang for your buck adding more lighting than switching out your knobs. I mean, switching out the knobs is it's a great little thing, but adding more lighting to your space will completely transform your space. Like, it's huge. It's huge. Underlighting your space will immediately just pull the entire space down. It gets kind of dark. Ambient lighting, even though we do photograph a lot of times the homes for magazines and books with the lights off, when you're actually living in your space, having the lights on and really filling out the space with lighting will completely transform your space. You don't have to just have one pendant light. You might need a couple. You might need 3 or 4, because the size of what they sell at IKEA a lot of times is small, and it's too small for your space. And you can make a big impact by multiplying maybe how many lights you have, multiplying how many lights are in the space around you. You just need to just go for more lighting. It will you're gonna get way more bang for your buck out of that. It will look way more designer doing that than switching out your knobs. But if you want to switch out your knobs, that's okay too. Oh, I think I'm gonna get into a little bit of trouble for this one, but I suggest that you skip the iconic pieces. Anything that is iconically IKEA, something that was designed for IKEA, that IKEA has really made famous, I would just skip it. Things like the Kallax shelves, a lot of times those shelves are just associated with IKEA. They are a ripoff of something that was designed in Scandinavia, but we just all associate that look with IKEA now. So I just try to avoid anything that just feels like IKEA, that people just know it's IKEA. If you're not a designer, I don't think you spend time doing this all day long. You might not even know what those pieces are, but yeah, that's interesting. I think this one's a little bit unfair because, and I've had this exact conversation with other designers, particularly in Scandinavia, where they've said that their design has been ripped off and replicated at IKEA. And I told them, I said, I don't think that people realize that somebody else even made that thing. They don't even know who the designer is. They don't realize that the chair that they love is a ripoff. So yeah, I think that one's an interesting one. You guys can let me know down in the comments how you feel about that, because how would you even know what is a designer ripoff and what isn't if you don't work in the design field every day? This is so easy. You're gonna literally be like, I'm gonna go do this right this second. It's that easy. This one is so easy that you are literally going to want to run straight over to your Billy bookcase and fix this right away. I'm telling you, it's revolutionary. Okay, so IKEA, their purpose and one of their goals, it's their ethos. I mean, it's like everything. They want to help you make the most of your space. But a designer's goal isn't necessarily to try to put as much stuff into your space as humanly possible, to literally measure out every inch and to try to put something into your space. Well, that is what IKEA is trying to do for you. They're all about efficiency. They're all about trying to make the most of your space. And I started to notice over the years as I was looking through the catalogs, I couldn't figure out what it was that just something didn't feel right to me. And that's what it is. It's the fact that they're trying to just use every last inch of space. Well, when I design a home, I don't necessarily need to fill out every single inch of a home. And it's fine if I have a space that needs to be more efficient and it does need more storage. That's fine. Sometimes that's what is demanded of the project, but not every time. We don't always need to have every single thing built out and everything completely packed. So I'm delaying the tip. So what you want to do is you want to remove the shelves from your bookcases. So if you think about the Billy bookcase, it comes with a whole bunch of shelves because IKEA is trying to help you get as much into your space as you possibly can. So only one of those, I looked it up to make sure, only one is stationary on the Billy bookcase. So if you take out some of the other shelves, you've now created more space. And now you have space for my next tip. Okay, so I'm kind of tying these together because the next one is to upscale your accessories, size up. Again, IKEA is trying to just put so much stuff into your home. Everything is small. That's how they keep their prices down. The scale of things typically is just very small. And part of that's because they're working with small spaces. Part of that is because they're trying to keep the price down. But that is not necessarily going to give you a designer look in your home. So when you have taken out the shelves, if you have a Billy bookcase, for example, now you have space to put larger accessories on your shelves. You might have artwork leaning against the back of the shelf. You might have a collected piece that you've had for a long time. You now have room, instead of little bud vases, you now have room for a nice big vase. If everything that you've got on the shelf is, 4 to 6 inches tall and it's lots of tiny little things, it's going to feel very cluttered and it doesn't give off that sort of high-end designer vibe that I'm assuming that since you clicked on the video, that's what you're hoping for. So instead, think about larger books. Nice big coffee table books. Think about nice big vases, accessories. Instead of having a teeny tiny little picture frame, you're gonna upscale even the picture frame. And does it cost more money? I really actually don't think it does, because you're actually filling the same volume, you just are using less items to fill it. And it will really give you that beautiful collected but warm, inviting, and upscale kind of feel to your bookshelves. But you can also apply this same exact concept to any accessory that you're using in your home, whether you're decorating your bedside table or your coffee table or your kitchen shelving. I hope that you will hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up, and let me know if you would like to have part 2, because I got a little carried away and I had to eventually stop because apparently I really do love IKEA. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.